Amongst the things that I think about is not only data and AI, but I also pride myself in the study of philosophy and theology. So this video is a bit of a mix. It's going to have elements of both data and of theological insight. So if you ever consider why the Trinity is rational, why does it make sense? In fact, why is it required? Why is it required to have a Trinity? I can tell you very simply. If you admit that God is love, not only an attribute of Him, right? In other words, that if you say that God is what love is and not what He does, then logically you must have a recipient of that love. Now, in order for God to have existed forever, the object and the recipient of His love ought to also exist on the same timeline. There has to be a recipient of that love for God to be love. Otherwise, you say that God is love in absence of anything else, which is not love at all, but an inverted sense of love, of self-love. But a self-loving God isn't a God that creates mankind, is it? So therefore the Trinity. We need to have a recipient of that love. Now this is in contrast and contention with other religious systems that say that, well, God is, right, the monad. The monad God is a God that's a single source of creation of all things, and everything emanates from one creator being. This is called the monad. You know, the problem with that line of thinking is that it turns love into something that only what God does. But the problem is with that is if God only does things that are loving, that He is not love, then it means that the nature of love is changed from that of self-giving to that of an inverted self-love. So the nature of God ought to be that He, not only did He create all things, but He also is love in and of itself, not something that He does. Same thing with the word goodness. God is not good because He does good things, but He is good in His being, in the definition of what good is.